Muncie and go?
Munson said something about banging fingers in your parents' bedroom. Shall we watch Chila Tequila?
Yes. Wanna borrow a sock?
Yes.
It's not my fault that you don't know how to pull cards out of your sleeve. Learn how to play. I need to talk to you now. Please don't tell me that your wife is cheating on me. Quit clowning around. Hey, who you calling a clown? Oh, right, it's me. You know, I don't want people to remember me as a jester. I'm a great writer, by the way. Here, have a listen. Yeah, that's very interesting, but we have something important. Just imagine this, a tavern, dim lit. A plague doctor, a crusader are sitting at the table. What happened in that dungeon? Hey, wait a minute. That's a spoiler. I didn't get to that episode yet. We should turn back. There wasn't much to do without a healer. But don't worry. You don't have a choice anyway. What are you talking about? Maybe you should just look at yourself. Do you hear that? I think they found the one who killed the Samaritan's chamber. There he is. He's a murderer. Are you okay? That madman got you pretty hard. Hey. Are you okay? What's up with you? He doesn't respond. Hey. Hi, Sonic. If you play Darkest Dungeon, you know what I'm talking about. I hope you know what I'm talking about. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Thank you for coming. I hope you enjoyed our pre-show. Is that my Sandman impersonation? I don't know what you're talking about. I'm doing a bunch of new things tonight that I don't usually do. So, oh, no, it's the Accuser. So you obviously aren't in the Darkest Dungeon, no. But there's an Accuser. He's one of the enemies, and he will point at you and shame you and accuse you. And then all of your hope and dreams and everything that made you precious in the world disappears, like my background. I present to you Darkest Dungeon this evening, brought to you by originally Herbski, and Herbski went and asked for help, so I'm joined via video and voice this evening by that help, who became the table lead, MerlinRTP. Now, he can't reply yet. Actually, he could reply, he just doesn't know that. I haven't told him yet. But the RTP, if you didn't know, Merlin's name is Rob, and the RTP stands for Rob Thundercat. No, it's not. It's Presley. I was gonna say something else, but no, it's Thundercat Presley. That's what RTP stands for. I'm sticking with it. That's not the truth. But I introduce you now to the best table I've played all day. This is really an original concept. It is based off of Wrath of Olympus from J.P. Salas, but while you'll recognize some things, this is unlike anything you've played before. It's a tribute to the PC game, Darkest Dungeon. Things happen. We'll talk about that tonight as we go through things. And again, thank you for coming. Without further ado,
there is a place beneath those ancient ruins in the moor that calls out to the boldest among them. We are the flame, they cry, and darkness fears us. They descend, spurred on by fantasies of riches and redemption, till they bear whatever blasphemous abnormality may slumber restlessly in that unholy abyss. But darkness is insidious. Terror and madness can find cracks in the sturdiest of armors, the most resolute of minds. And below, in that limitless chasm of chaos, they will realize the truth of it. We are not the flame, they will cry out. We are but moths, and we are doomed. And their screams will echo amidst the pitiless cyclopean stones of the darkest dungeon.
good evening and welcome to the darkest dungeon. I can't see chat, and I thought it would work, but if you ask a question, I won't see it. Merlin, are you here? I see you on the TV.
I am here.
Awesome.
I don't have a cloak of invincibility like yourself, so...
Let me get your volume back up. Can you say something again for me?
Sure. How's that? Can you
Yep.
hear me now?
Yep, you're good. Okay, I need to, hold on, I need to do something here, because this isn't going to work without me being able to see some sort of chat, so bear with me 2 seconds.
Oh, this is the worst looking hat I ever saw. Oh, it looks
Okay.
good on you, though.
So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome. The Darkest Dungeon. Is his voice still low? Okay, better. Good. Much better.
How about
There.
now? Check.
Yep.
Check.
I had it low for the intro sounds and all the stuff playing, so.
So you didn't hear me cackling and screaming in the background?
I saw you cackling and screaming. I tried to entertain you. I hope I did well.
You did. I had the stream muted for the first half, so I missed it. I'll have to rewatch it. It was good, though. I didn't realize you were a poet. I didn't know that.
I didn't know it either. I let Pinball Gramps write all my material.
Good idea.
So I'm gonna play. I want to let you talk.
Yeah. So, where to start? This is a donor table. So when Herbsky started this table, nobody else had used Wraths of Olympus. And he's like, oh, this is a cool table layout. I'm going to, do a rebuild of this, a reskin. Well, a year and a half later, here we are. And 6 or 7 other tables have come out since. However, I don't know if any play quite like this. I'm a newer author. Herbsky is brand new. So we do things a little different, which is good and bad, because we look through a different lens. So we're not as good as some of the gurus out there, but we bring some different looks to things. So there's a lot of RPG elements that are brought into this from the classic table, game, PC game, Darkest Dungeon. So there's tons of RNG in this. So even if you hit the exact same shots, you will have a completely different gaming experience because of the RNG that's involved as to which modes come up, different things that happen, which items you collect, which monsters you fight, things like that. So hopefully there's a lot of gameplay in here for you to be able to replay this table over and over if you like it. It's not going to be for everybody because it's not necessarily a straight up pinball game. I know Terry's on here and he's doing some stuff obviously much better than I could ever dream to do with Silent Hill with an inventory, but there's some similar concepts with that with your item collection where items do different things or give you different bonuses in the game that you have to use them. You don't just get them automatically. Once you collect the item and you enter a dungeon, then you actually have to use the item to get its benefits. Same thing with the characters. So the main concept of this table is you build a party and then you go into a dungeon, and there's essentially 4 dungeons. There's the ruins, there's the cove, there's the weld, and there's the warrens. So you assemble a party, you go into the dungeon, you defeat the dungeon or the monsters in the dungeon, and if you do that, you then get to face an optional boss for that dungeon. If you beat that dungeon, you'll win a sack of gold, which I'll explain later on, the value of that. And then you move on and collect your party again if you need to. Go into another dungeon and defeat that dungeon and continue. Once you've defeated all 4 dungeons, you open up wizard mode. And you actually have to fight one more boss before you get into wizard mode. And then it gets a little crazy. I'll put it that way. Wizard modes typically are, so it gets a little groovy if you can manage to make it all the way through to the end. So I'm hoping to get some questions from folks. Maybe once they see some gameplay, it'll give them an idea. There's also some side modes that are mainly just for points and some variety outside of the dungeon and boss battles. That's kind of the overview. Herbsky, are you on by any chance?
He is.
Anything else?
Now I've already built my party. We're gonna fight right now. If you guys look down at the apron cards, you want to talk about the apron cards? Because I'm watching some cool stuff happening there.
Yeah. So that's another lesson learned here. Thundercats was super basic. Right? Not a whole lot of pup activity. This is way overboard, like way overboard. Lessons learned. It's difficult for the user to see a lot of what's happening, right? I hold the ball when I can so that you can really appreciate the different videos, GIFs, animations. But once we release multiplayer, you'll really be able to appreciate all that went into this game, all the artwork, all the videos, the GIFs, the PNGs, all the different pop-ups, because you're not going to see them when you're playing, to be quite frank. As I learned, this was my first table with Pup DMD, and it was, oh, cool new toy, let me play with this. Oh, I can do that, I can do this, let me do that. And it's overboard, right? And our next table won't be so over the top like this, but if you have a bystander, man, they're gonna have a hell of a show, because there is so much going on with the pup, especially the full DMD pup, because that's really what we had in mind for this table. Slim DMD's almost an afterthought. So those that have a full DMD table will really get a treat with this. So there's a whole lot of layers to this table. It's interesting concepts. Darkest Dungeon, for those that haven't played the table, a big part of the concept is you have this torchlight. And as the torchlight dims, the monsters get a little bit more challenging, but you get more loot and more treasure. So a similar concept is followed here, where as you're playing in the dungeon, the table light will begin to dim. And you can hit the torches to relight it, and the values of your score will go down a little bit in doing so. But you'll be able to actually see the playfield better. There's a whole bunch of other things that are in there with the items, the attributes. So each player that you put into your party has a specialty, if you will. And I'll just throw out some examples because that's probably the easiest way to explain it. The occultist helps if you get ambushed in a dungeon, which is a random event that can occur.
Hey, Rob.
When you enter a dungeon, these pop-up targets will pop up and prevent you or limit you from shooting the lanes, shooting the orbits until you knock them down. Well, the occultist will automatically knock those down for you. The Vestal or healer will give you an extra ball saver. So if that executes, you'll end up getting an extra 20 seconds of ball saver time, as well as cure bleed, which is another effect that can happen. So the table's rather complex. It's a pretty complex rule set, which might turn off some people, but hopefully it'll turn on a lot of people because there's a lot of replayability and a lot of interest into it. So the way the items work is by default, whenever you go into a dungeon, if you've collected no items, 3 items are going to load into the chest. Those items are Bleed, Madness, and Heart Attack. If you trigger Heart Attack, it kills one of your party members. If you trigger Bleed, it reduces the timer as to how long your player's health lasts for. If you trigger Madness, the flippers just randomly trigger and it interrupts your playing because the flippers will actuate on their own during that time period. So it's highly advisable to get some items before you enter a dungeon. The way you get items is when you're assembling your party, if you hit some of the scoops, you'll get an item. And there's 5 different items that do different things. There's a shovel, which gives you an extra ball in the game. There is a vial, which will essentially rebirth a slain party member. There's bandages that if you've become afflicted with bleed, it removes the bleed affliction. There is a key, which basically gets you some bonus points. And there's medicine, which will light the extra ball light, which is on the left ramp. So that's kind of the core concept of the game, is assemble your party, add as many items as you can before going into a dungeon. Once you go into a dungeon, you have to defeat the monsters.
Like that?
It changes depending upon what mode you're in. And you also can use items, and the way you use items is by hitting the in scoop or the Pandora scoop, which is the scoop on the right, which will be changed out. That's the original Wraths of Olympus scoop on the right. And you'll use one of the items that you've acquired. And if you haven't acquired one, bad things are going to happen.
Hey, Ed, the answer is yes, and we're going to show you. It's already in the table. That's right, I said it's in the table. If the table's not dark enough for you, we're going to show you that too. Here's what he's talking about. I just got bleed in the middle of a boss fight. You think that's going to be helpful? Probably not. What am I going for here? The pop-bumpers? I'm not getting instruction on this one.
Yep, that's the pop bumpers. Yeah, it disappeared. There's supposed to be something on the left apron that tells you.
Yeah, I saw it the first time. We completed that mode once, and then we got into it a second time, same mode. We also had the end of ball bonus hang up. I have a nice clip for you for later.
Oh,
Hey, Cascade. Nothing major. Don't freak out. It's good. He doesn't freak out. I just like saying that to him. It freaks him out. Look up right now, Rob. It says end of ball bonus, and I'm obviously.
Yeah, the chat's kind of hiding that, so I can't see it.
Frickin' chat.
Yeah.
Chat's hiding the back glass?
Well, yeah, on my screen. I'm just looking
Oh, okay.
at the little iPad.
It's you, not me. All right, I got it.
Yeah, it's me. It's me. But I tell all the ladies.
It's all right. I'm a judgment-free guy, but the end of ball bonus is still on the back glass. But that's okay. When I did this earlier, as I progressed through the mode, it went away and reset itself. So hopefully now, when I drain, I know. But that's why we test. Hey, speaking of which, we could use your help. I'm going to put a link in the chat for the Discord for Darkest Dungeon, and if you'd like to contribute, hey, don't just come there to get the table and play it. Come there to contribute to beta test and actually give your thoughts, find bugs, and help squash them. We especially need people with slim DMDs. So if you're a candidate for that, I will get you a link. 1 second.
What that link's going to be for is for our Discord channel. There are sections for feedback, latest releases, suggestions, all kinds of good stuff. And appreciate any feedback that you can provide, right? We're never going to make everybody happy, but we do at least review everybody's feedback and, you know, kind of go from there as to what we can. What we're most interested in at this point is bug fixes, especially Slim DMD. We don't have a lot of testers for Slim DMD. And the pup was mainly built for full DMD, so that.
Yeah, I thought I'd be left out. Link deleted. Okay, I see it.
Cascade, yes, it is. It is based off of the game. It's not a one-for-one match, but it has a lot of the RNG, random number generation concepts built into it. All the assets have pretty much been borrowed from the game itself. That's why they look so good. And Herbsky's done a tremendous job with using some tools to be able to pull that stuff out and pull it into VPX.
I'd also like to call out when that under ball stays on the screen, if you hit your flipper twice, it seems to go away, but it didn't one time I did it, so. But just now it did.
Yeah, you're just making shit up at this point.
I am. Yeah, no, it's on video, man.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to clip it all up and send it to you. Okay. Well, feel free, Celine. I believe you have that power. I could be wrong. But yeah, I'll do that. Actually, you can't moderate people, can you? What's that?
Any questions here? Yeah, just going through the chat to see if anybody posted any questions here.
I don't see any major questions yet, but I could have missed some. Just a lot of good comments about the love for the table, the lighting. Gramps is enjoying watching somebody else play it rather than him playing it. Behold. Behold, Herb, a battle. Here's a question. What resolution qualifies as slim DMD? So that would be a 4:1 aspect ratio versus like a 16:9, the Doc Rob. So like mine is an LCD, but it's a 4:1 aspect ratio versus a lot of people have a full DMD, which is like a laptop screen, a 16:9 ratio. When I built my cab, I thought I wanted a slim because I wanted a authentic size. Yeah, see? I wanted that authentic size because at the time, I thought to myself, 90% of the tables you're going to play are standard DMD. Everybody's just filling them up with little images and videos. Well, now Pup DMD's out, and full DMDs have now gone from a backlash to the DMD where they should be, and they're much better viewed on a full DMD. Much like a modern Stern with Iron Maiden or the JJPs with Toy Story or Godfather, they have a huge screen where they can make interactive elements happen on the screen. And when you're somebody mean like Mr. Grinch and you have a friend like me who has a 4.1 DMD, it's hard to code for that. Merlin and I, right before the stream, all the way up to stream time, were adjusting font sizes and getting things looking just right because it wasn't fitting right, because Merlin doesn't have that. But he does have madness. Sorry, Merlin, you acquired madness just now.
Yeah, no, hopefully you don't get it.
Oh, I got it.
Another thing that we did with this table, because it is a very challenging table, I've got most of the code for multiplayer in there, but quite frankly, I haven't debugged any of it. So when we release this, it's going to be single player only game initially, but eventually we will release multiplayer / co-op. And when I say co-op, it's going to take advantage of one of the features that's in single player. So one of the things that happens, and I kind of hinted at it when I talked about defeating a boss, if you're able to make it through a dungeon and beat a boss, you earn a sack of gold. Well, that sack of gold, you can do a couple things with it. Say you earn 3 sacks of gold because you beat 3 of the 4 bosses. Well, at the end of your game, you can take that sack of gold and either trade it in for some points, or you can use it to continue your progress. And if you continue your progress, say you beat 3 of the dungeons, those dungeons will already count and be defeated on your next replay, so that you'll only have to defeat 1 dungeon to be able to unlock the wizard mode, which you have to beat this very difficult boss called the Shambler in order to unlock wizard mode. But very few people are going to be able to do that on a one-time playthrough. So instead of just people never being able to experience that, I put this concept of a continue progress in there, that if you beat one of the bosses, you can spend a gold sack. Instead of getting the points, you can choose to continue the dungeons that you've already beat. And if we ever do a multiplayer or a co-op mode, we'll leverage that and kind of play into it so that essentially you and your player 2 or player 3 can all work towards the same goal. And once one person beats the Ruins dungeon, the next person might beat the Well dungeon, and the other one beats the Warrens dungeon. You can all kind of work together to get to that wizard mode.
Celine, I need you to take a note. Herb, you missed everything. We beat the game. Yeah, I got to the Shambler. We smacked him. It was pretty awesome. The whole table blew up.
That's fantastic.
Hey, Celine, take a note. If Rob said, he started by saying, and I was listening closely, okay, because as soon as he said co-op, I'm like, he started by saying, we're going to update this with multiplayer and co-op. And at the end of his speech, he said, if. So, Celine, just a little note, in 1 year from now, if Rob has not produced some sort of evolution with co-op play, we're going to have to start a petition in the virtual pinball community. So he knows people want it.
I've already got the TCP socket code all written out already.
It was the way you said it. You go, we're doing it. Oh, if we do it. I couldn't resist. I'm sorry. Anybody notice my table's getting darker? Anybody notice that?
I can't see anything.
You can't see anything.
So here's another thing that maybe it's in the rule set, maybe it's not. If you hit the captive ball it'll relight all the torches at once. But it's a pretty
nice.
tough shot.
It is. Yeah, I've hit it a few
You have to
times.
hit 'em individually, and it'll gradually build the torch light back up. But hitting that captive ball will just restore it back to full light.
Nice. There it is. See that?
You missed it.
No, I got it. What are you talking about? I relit the whole table like that.
That's the delay. Yeah, it's the delay. I didn't have the delay.
Freaking harassing me, guys. He's claiming it's because of a delay. Mr. Grinch, I'm not sure if you were here earlier, but the ball color will change depending on what's happening. I had a purple ball. I've seen green balls. And it's dynamic based off of the table. For those of you who haven't played any of Merlin's tables before, the last table he released was Thundercats. And before that, Merlin, what was your table? I think it was your first table, right?
It was. I did some stuff with Black Belt, which was just kind of a mod. I added multi-ball and did some other kind of learning stuff on it. But the first real table was a reskin with Thundercats, and then this one. I'm still a noob.
Yeah. You've got a very... I think of you as the guy who makes pinball more fun. I mean, very, like you said, similar to Terry, it's not just about making the shots and getting a score. You put a video game element to it, or, you know, in this case, a random number generated, more D&D kind of style thing, but to me the same concept. You're taking a game rule from a different game and applying it to this world. That's intriguing, and you execute it so well. The other thing I really enjoy about Merlin's work, and he kind of alluded to it tonight, nobody's ever going to get to wizard mode on their own, right? Like he said. But if you play Thundercats, there's selectability levels for ease of play, and it's not just, you know, moving a pop bumper here or there. It's a little deeper than that. So he really puts a lot of thought into his rule sets. That's what I really admire about you, Merlin. The quality table that comes out of that, no matter who helps you or what you do on your own, has turned out very well on all 3 tables I've played.
Yes, I appreciate that. So a little bit of the evolution of this table. So Dan kind of started it out as a noob, complete noob. I mean,
Dan is Herbski, for those that don't know.
Yeah, Herbski to take this on and try to develop a table of this magnitude on his own. Just
ambitious, to say the least.
Yeah. So I stepped in and helped out a lot, and we got it very well progressed. And then about a month ago, the VPW team really stepped up and put a lot of polish on it. The playfield, Astro redid the playfield and added a bunch of stuff. Oxen redid the 3D inserts and gave us these pretty ramps that you're looking at. Redid the upper playfield. I spent hours and hours and hours trying to do different things and couldn't get it right. And in a couple days, he came up with what we have now. So in the last month, we've really been able to kind of progress the looks forward. You know, we had all the gameplay mechanics there, but the looks just weren't quite right. And that's where Astro and Oxen really helped us out big time to bring it up to that next level. And then Dan, just learning over time, the pup overlays were okay, but now they're really top tier at this point. I think it looks really good. I'm very proud of it.
As you should be. For those that don't know, Dark will relight your kickback. Is that right? Yeah. Yeah, it says it right there. I'm an idiot. But if you do the inlanes, you can increase your multiplier. You can see I'm currently at 8x.
And right now, that's just the bonus multiplier. I haven't implemented any type of playfield multiplier. Probably add that before it releases, but right now there's no playfield multiplier.
You throw a double scoring in here or something. That'd be cool. Well, then again, like you said, it's not about scoring.
Yeah, it's really about the gameplay.
The mode progression.
It's different, yeah.
Getting to the end of the game.
Yep. Yep, that's the goal, is to make it to wizard mode in this one,
Yep.
regardless of what your score is.
There's the captive ball again, showing you how the table will go dark and then light. There's the mystery. We're going to get madness. And if this executes, I got to show my wife this earlier. Look at it, guys. I'm not doing that. I have gone mad. And while I can still control my flippers, I've gone mad. And the only glimmer I have of hope is ball save. Shit. I was actually able to control this chaos a little better last time.
That was a perfect demonstration, Marty, of what I was hoping to accomplish with that mode.
I'm learning as we go here, Rob.
Yeah, you can't trap the ball. You're in a bad spot until that wears off.
Now we're back at the end. Celine, have you ever played this game, the game itself on Steam? Just curious. I love this game. It's a dungeon crawler with a dark feel, but it's also gothic and steampunky, and I don't know. I love
Best
this.
voiceover I've ever heard.
What? Oh yeah, the announcer.
Yeah.
These glimmering souls have no hope. He's even got like a glimmer of hope in his voice when he's like depressing sounding.
Driving. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just such a agonizingly awesomely cool game. You have it, but you haven't. Yeah. The second one is very different. It's Darkest Dungeon, the Road Show is what I call it. There are still dungeons, but more of a road show.
Yeah, so each dungeon kind of has its own theme, and each boss has its own theme as to how you defeat it, and that stays pretty static. There's a handful of controllable variables. By default, we're going to set things the way we would like people to play it, or we think they should play it, but after they've played it a while, they can then go and change it up and get even more variety outside of the RNG that's there, such as the dungeons, instead of being in a specific order of Ruins, Cove, Weld, Warrens, it can randomize that to get more variety and have different bosses that they fight. The whole goal is replayability and just trying to bring something different, right? There's a lot of authors out there that are much better than Dan and I that do amazing things, but we're trying to just bring something different for people to experience, and hopefully people will appreciate that, but we'll see.
And I saw you credit all the people behind all the framework and stuff that came before you in the credits too. That was really cool to see. This has N. Fozzie Roth Physics, Philippe Sound Package.
Yeah, Oxen really helped out a lot with some of the stuff, especially the pop-up targets, some of the trickier coding. Superhack helped with some of the trickier coding. Astro really helped out with some of the playfield stuff.
Darren at VLCE or VCLE, I'm going to get that wrong.
Yep.
We had Haunt Freaks.
Yeah, Haunt Freaks did a backlash for it. Tuga is the one who came up with this whole concept of the pup screens, being able to do pup screens on the apron. So I completely stole that code after getting his blessing.
Oh, hell yeah. And if you're having performance issues, that might be the first thing you look at. And if you remember from other Team Tuga tables, there's a setting in the script. You can set that to be a little less intensive on the performance. I have a 2080 Ti and an i7. I don't have any issues, but if you do.
Yeah, it essentially just lowers the frames per second on that. And the other thing you can do is kind of tune back the reflections, because that's pretty pretty tough on CPU as well.
If you're running SpongeBob and Big Bang Bar, you probably aren't going to have an issue with this.
You can run this fine. Yep. Yeah.
I forgot to ask you, but does this run in 10.7?
I don't even know what that is.
VPX 10.7.
No, it will not run well.
See, another reason you need to upgrade.
Yeah, the lights will bloom out horribly.
Yeah, I was baiting the audience because I know somebody was going to ask eventually.
Yeah. No,
There's holdouts.
So the other thing, great segue. Really,
You're welcome.
You must have done this before.
A couple times.
You will need Nailbuster's latest pinup beta for this table.
Oh, that jerk!
Working on some releases.
That guy, David.
Yeah.
You know he's here, right? I didn't want to tell you.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
He's lurking.
So,
He didn't want to admit that he came to my stream, but he's here. I know he's here.
I believe it. So yeah, you'll definitely need his beta. But if you're gonna join our
Why?
channel,
Why would we need his beta? Does this have something new from Nailbuster?
It's Dave.
Always.
Open up, I got the stuff with me.
Dave's not here.
Dave, open up. Dave, come on, man, open up. I think the cops on me.
Come on, man, open up. It's Dave. So, ladies and gentlemen, Nailbuster joined me last weekend, if you saw it, and he is getting things ready, but he's already released the 1.5 beta for Popper, or Pinup Player. He's getting other things ready for you, but by the time that comes out, this will be ready to go, and you can play with the new framework, and it will work with the old stuff as well. Don't worry, it's actually super painless. Didn't have any issues.
Yeah, it is. I'm always super nervous when I do any of the VPX upgrade stuff, but Dave put a lot of thought into this recent upgrade where it's essentially going to use all the old code for the older tables. And then if the authors choose to take advantage of the new features in the newer version, they essentially have a separate INI file that tells it, hey, use the new drivers. So that way it's virtually zero risk or very, very low risk of it impacting any of the old tables. Whereas when you go to 10.8, kind of a different story, right? I know people have had some challenges.
No, you're doing so good. I was about to tell Nailbuster, see, we got somebody else to say that, Dave. Now you didn't have to say that. Now Merlin's on the hook for it.
They paid me to say that.
No, if anybody has problems, if anybody's scared, don't worry. We'll make videos. If you need them, let me know. I'm happy to make a video if you feel confused. But also, join the VPN Hub Discord. Join the pinup group on Facebook. There's a lot of people out there that love to help you. It's just go to the platform you enjoy.
Parallel, right? You don't have to do a full-on conversion, right? You can set it up in the path. If you're running pinup, you can use Dave's launcher to just tell it, hey, for these tables, use the 10.8 code. Otherwise, use 10.7, and then when you're comfortable, you can switch it all over.
Yeah.
So there's a nice medium in between where you don't have to just convert everything. You got options, people. I'm all about the options, and they're there.
Yep. And I'm all about helping make it easier for you because I Merlin himself said he's apprehensive on some of these upgrades. We get it. Every time one comes out, guys, I'm like, shit. I wonder if I can do this, because if I can do it, I'm sure everybody else can do it, but I'm not even sure I can do it. And it happens every time. It happened with Mr. Grinch's alt sound, and he was telling me the whole time, don't worry, it's easy. Here, I got a guide. But I'm always apprehensive. Doesn't matter. They haven't been getting to enjoy a lot of the pup because I haven't been draining too much. I don't want to brag, but...
Yeah, a little humble brag. It's always good now and then.
Well, I'd like to get into some of the other features you and I were talking about that we were going to open the stream with that we kind of forgot about.
Yeah.
So let me drain these out. Actually, let's
While you're doing that, I'm going to talk about some of the side missions. So there's
Oh,
three
yeah,
side
please.
missions. There's a blacksmith mode where, let me take a step back. So this isn't going to make a lot of sense to folks until you play the game a little bit, but the game starts out where you're in the village, right? And if you've ever played Darkest Dungeon, that's where you assemble your party members. It's where you collect trinkets. It's where you kind of prepare to go into a dungeon. Well, in this mode, there's some side missions that you can do. There's 3 of them. One of them's called the blacksmith, which if you hit enough spinners while in that mode, it'll trigger the blacksmith mode. And essentially what'll happen is you'll get a random lane to shoot and you'll have to chase those lanes. Once you hit the first one before the timer expires, you'll go to the next one. And if you make it all the way through all 8 of them, you'll get a pretty substantial bonus at the end. The next mode is the gamble mode, which once you've hit enough ramps in the village mode, you'll trigger the gamble mode. And what'll happen in the gamble mode is every time you shoot a ramp, you'll increase the bonus value. At any point in time, you can shoot the middle scoop and collect your bonus, or you can continue to gamble and try to hit more ramp shots before the timer expires. But if the timer expires before you're able to collect, you lose all the points. And the last mode is in the dark, where the table goes almost completely black. You have to hit the torches. You have to hit some torches on the upper play field. And if you do that before the timer expires, you get a big bonus, like 1,000,000 points or something like that. But just something to add some additional variety as to what's going on in the different modes. So the in the dark mode, I think I didn't mention, the way you trigger that is by hitting the torches when you're in the village, which just kind of happens by accident. There's 5 different torches that are kind of spread across in between the lanes.
You see how dark I got it? Look at that.
Super dark.
So before I started the game, I held down my left mag save, and then I pushed the right. Oh! Hey, look, now it's a comic book. What's this? There's Lutz. Sorry. I'm sorry, Rob.
No, not at all.
So you mentioned gambling. What comes after gambling?
Yeah, gambling would be in the dark mode, which is essentially triggered by hitting the torches. There's 5 of them, and you can kind of see them. They're in the middle of the playfield, in between the lanes, essentially, in between the ramp, inside orbit, middle scoop, the scoop next to the middle scoop, the right ramp, and the right orbit. And if you hit those enough times, it'll trigger the in the dark mode, which again, the side missions really just get you points, extra bonus points, but they're substantial. So if you are playing for score, you'll definitely want to complete all the side missions because they're worth like 1,000,000 points each if you complete them. And the way to kind of let you know where you stand with those is overlay in the Slim DMD overlay. That's what each of those icons represent. The anvil is for the blacksmith mode. The playing cards are for the gamble mode. The torch is for the in the dark mode. And then the last thing, the sack of gold, is how many tokens you've collected to be able to either continue or just use that to get points at the end.
What's the magnet?
Yeah, that's a great thing. Great segue. You've done this once or twice.
I was just wondering because I was hitting the mag save and I'm like, hey, look, it's doing something.
Yeah. So the upper play field is incredibly difficult to get to. If you just try to hit the ball up the orbit, time it, and then use that right flipper, you can do it, but it's incredibly difficult. So to assist with that, there's a magnet that is under that shield symbol in the upper right. And you turn that on by hitting the left MagnaSave button. And you'll get 2 indicators. The light will start flashing on the shield on the play field. And then on your DMD, the magnet will change from gray to red or colored. And then once you actually have a ball captured, a little GIF will play and the word locked or captured will show to let you know that you've locked a ball. And then what you can do is hit the right MagnaSave key after it's captured, and it'll automatically drop the ball and hit it to the upper playfield for you. And
So do I have to hit the button to when it's on the circle? Because it's not catching it by just being on.
it should now.
Well,
Not.
I've done it 3 times and it's not catching it. Is it going too fast?
Yeah, it might be going too fast. And that typically happens with the right flipper.
I tried it from both. So I did the right flipper 2 or 3 times, but I did get one from, so I have it on right now, right? Let's try it. Yeah.
And I will say I did, like, literally today, I just moved where the magnet actually was, and maybe JP had that magnet in that spot for a reason.
For a reason, yeah.
But the problem is, where he originally had the magnet is it's essentially under the ramp. So when the magnet captures the ball, you don't see it. So today I moved it to where the shield is, and maybe it's not actually catching it at this point.
Okay. Let me recreate it again. A minute ago I was hitting it over and over again. Now I can't hit it for the life of me. All right, so here's the far way around, and like you said, the right flipper, it usually does it. So let's get the other flipper.
Yeah, it's not working. I'll have to debug that.
I know. I just wanted you to see it. There you go.
Yeah.
It's all right. That's what we're playing. Play better?
That's a good idea. I didn't think of that. Instead of using the bronze, maybe go with clear ramps so that you can see through it, and I can move the magnet back to where it was.
Well, and I believe you told me the ramps were customizable in the script?
They are. So there's these pretty cool looking wooden ramps, which are like planks. And then Oxen did these metal ramps for us, which look really good as well, but you can change that out through the script.
No, we got in the dark. Which is what you were talking about.
Yeah, and I'm going to be quiet and just put all the action on you at this point. See if you can hit the different torches.
I've only done it, like, I think I've gotten 3 torches in the past on this mode. I've never finished it. As evidenced by the 1 second I have left. And not hitting more than 1 torch. I think you said that's worth 1,000,000 points.
It is.
Yeah.
This is a tough table.
Yeah.
It's not easy. There's definitely shot placement. So there's a bunch of options, right? So one of the ones is this table was really bouncy with the default values that are recommended by Enfazi and Rothbaro. So I've kind of tuned it back a little bit because what I've found, at least with this implementation, is the rubber materials are super, super bouncy. So I've kind of tuned it back, but if that's what you like, there's a variable at the top of the script that you can change, and you can set that to a little bit higher value.
You could quick tap BH up there from the left flipper, have a quick release. Oh yeah, do you have stage flipper code in here?
There is. It's
Awesome.
You just have to turn it on. I think it's off by default, but if you have stage flippers, you can just turn it on.
Nice.
Otherwise, it breaks the code for those of us that aren't so bougie.
Right. I only know 2 bougie people, Try to Tilt and MPT3K. They have money, so they can afford those fancy dual stagers.
Yep, it's in the code. You just got to turn on the variable.
Very cool. It's always nice to have that in backhand orbits.
Yeah, that was Primetime 5K that gave me the code for that.
Awesome. Thank you, Primetime.
I gotta actually put him in the credits.
I think he's in the testing credits.
He is.
I can add that. Although I'm running out of space in the video for names, I can add him in there.
I like that it's 2 minutes because that's what we needed for the wizard mode. So that's great.
I'll throw it in there for you. I mean, I'll redo it. Throw his name in.
What is it?
Oh, and he's even here.
Oh, it's my
Thanks
stomach.
again, Prime.
He's always here. He lurks.
Since we
Yeah,
saw that
he's
Ronald
everywhere.
Reagan film.
He even plays in my tournaments. He's a nice guy.
A Turkish prison.
Oh, I should have had that second cup of coffee.
Shouldn't have had that second cup of coffee.
I don't know how many people actually got that right.
Well, it's playing in the back glass right now, so
Oh,
they had to get the reference.
yeah, yeah.
I threw it in their face. Well, Sonic did.
Screwing me, man. I can't see the black glass.
You can't? Oh, I can't help you with your tablet. I'm so sorry.
The chat screen covers it.
No, I forgot. Yeah, you've missed like everybody gave you like praise in the back glass. That's where all the praise is occurring. I'm sorry you're missing it.
Yeah, yeah.
Just kidding. I'm not doing very well right now. I think I'm too hot in this cloak.
Don't ever touch it.
Thank you.
Now it's a tough table. It's a very tough table. Some of the shots are tough. I mean, that's some of the feedback that Pinstrats gave us. And Pinstrats, for those that don't know, is very good at table and shot making. And he's like, man, this table is so freaking hard. You got to make this table a little bit easier if you expect people to play. But for those that have played the PC Darkest Dungeon, that is not an easy
game. You fail a lot.
Yes.
The whole purpose is to fail many, many times to build yourself up.
Yep. And we tried to emulate that the best we can with learning. And you can control which party gets added.
And knowing is half the battle.
If you're like, hey, I really like the Highwayman attribute, because the Highwayman gives you an extra ball, essentially. So if you want a free ball, you want to make sure he's in your party. Well, the way you do that is when you're assembling your party, you can hit the captive ball, and it will cycle the next person that's going to be added to your party. That's what that preview is.
Good luck.
It's going to tell you who's going to be added to your party next.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Performing that combination.
But that's the whole concept behind the preview, is it lets you know who's going to be added to your party when you're in assemble party mode. But you have the ability to change that. You don't like the next person, hit the captive ball. You don't like that person, hit it again before you end up adding another person. Easier said than done, but
the option is there.
Exactly. I'm all about options, man.
Yep, I know. That's, like I said, that's what I love about your tables. And the approachability, here we go again, for like newer players.
Yeah, yeah. So if you put the table, and they're going to be named different, they're going to align with whatever it is for Darkest Dungeon. I think it's Dark, Darkest, and I forget what the other name is, but the modes will match those names. But it's essentially an easy mode, normal, and hard mode, which will kind of give you longer time between how long it takes before your heroes die, how wide the outlanes are, and some of the other features. How much elasticity there is in the flippers is actually just a straight up configurable thing. You can set the value to whatever you like.
I did the dark. Now it's asking me to destroy the upper playfield targets.
Yeah, and since the magnet isn't working, good luck.
Oh,
you really need
do
a magnet. It's so hard to time it.
All right. You think we've covered everything?
I think so.
You know what we haven't covered?
If anybody has any last minute questions?
Well, let me ask you something. Hold on. My segue wasn't well timed. Give me a minute. I'll redo it.
Looked like you were going to accuse me of something for a second.
No. Well, I was going to accuse you of the one thing we did forget. And you broke it. Last update. I'm trying to show him the instructions.
Not working?
Mm-mm. But to be fair, let me totally shut down VPX again and reopen it from scratch.
Yeah, I may have broken it.
You might have. That's why I was looking like I was going to accuse you of something. It was more friendly pokery than anything else.
Mm.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we're supposed to be able to hit the add credit button. Well, I got a credit. I also have an alt. Yeah, it locks it up in VPX, so something in the script on that one. It was there, and it was gorgeous. Trust me. And then I told them about a problem with it, and then I made a new problem. That's why I'm not a good beta tester. But we'll get that fixed. Anything else? I'm going to send these guys somewhere else. Get ready for our FX3 tournament tonight.
Yeah, again, looking for testers, right, to squash some of these bugs.
Let me get that link in chat.
Next weekend. Not this weekend, but next weekend. There's too many bugs to release it this weekend. Plus, we need Nailbuster to give us the okay to release the beta pinup code.
Yep.
And, yeah, so appreciate anybody who can help with us to test out and squash any of these remaining bugs.
Awesome. Well, thank you for coming, everybody, and thank you, Rob, for joining me tonight. Thank you to Nailbuster for working hard to get this new framework out. I know Nailbuster is also excited about this, and the potential is pretty amazing. You can do things you couldn't do before. So, almost done with it. Already exported. Question: do you mind? So Doc Rob wants to make a skin for the VPX VR launcher. For those of us. So, yeah, just put, Doc Rob, go into the Discord and put it in there and talk about it.
Yep.
Probably a better place to get permission, per se. Because this is a group effort, so.
Sure.
Thank you for coming, guys, and see where I can throw this raid to. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just thanking you for setting this up and giving us this platform to be able to get the word out. And
yeah, it's my pleasure.
Twinkies and maybe go out for field hockey.
Now I can stop eating Twinkies now. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, be good to one another. I will see you in 1 hour for our FX3 tournament. Say goodnight, Merlin.
yeah, good night, everybody. Thank you for joining.
They can still hear me, but I'm going to raid them over. I'll head over to Lucifer Bob, who's currently streaming his FX3 tournament. And then he usually raids into me from there. So, again, thanks for coming. Please hang out for the raid. Go to vpnhub.com, download this table when it comes out, and make sure you click the like button. Leave a review. Be good to one another.